I'm typing very slowly now, learning anew, just like I learned how to sleep before. When I'm well, I have a fixed ritual. On my back, then on my left, then on my stomach, and from there I soar into genuine, clear, deep sleep. Now I lie on my back, motionless. I close my eyes and recreate the sleep track for which I long. I'm writing slowly. I have to stop and rest after each sentence. My left hand is injured. So are my shoulder, back, thighs, and buttocks, but my left hand is the key casualty. I try to include it in the writing assignment, but my right hand is faster and nimble, doing most of the work. I let my left hand type 2 letters, but it is too much of an effort for it. It actually started nicely. It was a Thursday, 2 weeks ago. Asaf and I were home. Asaf had just spent the week with a severe case of the flu. We are holding each other in bed, between the pink and white flannel sheets. I notice the soft light shining from the window and feel protected and lucky. Next, we have breakfast. I eat, and Asaf talks. He gives me an update on COVID, tells me what's new in politics, and a little about his work. He pauses for a moment, and I see him tear half a slice of bread with his teeth with every bite. It's not healthy to eat like that, but I don't tell him off. I go to the grocery and then back home. After days of rain and cold weather, the world is clean and washed. There is spring in my step. I am bathed in sunlight. From the corner of my eyes, I notice Marcus, the neighbor's dog, who's infamous in our family. Marcus hates our puppy, Cooper, and by extension, all of us as well. I know that Marcus is not in his usual spot, in his yard, behind the fence. He doesn't bark. He makes no sound. He doesn't threaten or give warning. Within a moment, he stands tall in front of me, jumps on me, and bites, biting and biting. I'm not ready for it. I wasn't alert at all. It's so unexpected. I think to myself, he let go soon. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I look around to see whether there is anyone around. All the windows are shut. No one emerges from their homes. Marcus doesn't let go and keeps ripping my arm. He locks his jaws on it. I toss my phone thinking maybe he's like Cooper and he'll go fetch it. But Marcus is a manly dog. He sinks his teeth deeper. I tell my body, hang in there now, we'll take care of it later. His eyes are red. He stands on his hind legs and leans into my body with his entire weight. He bites my shoulder. The houses in my neighborhood turn their backs on me. My throat keeps screaming, somebody help me, somebody help me. A car comes. It's my neighbor, Hagit. Run him over, run him over. I yell to her, help me. A small pale version of Hagit mumbles, I'm scared. Through the window, open just a crack, she says, you come here, get into the car. But what can I do? He's not letting me go in. I take advantage of a momentary break. Perhaps he's had enough of flesh and blood. I turn toward the car, but Marcus tails me, biting and slashing my back, my back, my back, my thigh, my buttocks, my hip, my shoulder. The car door won't open. I'll never get in. I keep trying. Finally, the door opens and I collapse onto the seat, whining. The physician and the nurse run out of the clinic frantically. They are shocked. The nurse lays me down on the cement, afraid I'd collapse. She brings scissors, cuts the sleeve of my sweater, revealing the crushed flesh beneath it, and shudders. It's bone deep. She ties a rubber tourniquet above my elbow and tightens it to prevent blood loss. The paramedic arrives. He asks me whether I'd like to leave right away or wait in order to take some painkillers first. All the while I'm saying, תקראו לאסף, תקראו לאסף, call Asaf, call Asaf, repeating it like a mantra, holding on to it, as if I'd be saved if he only showed up. It wasn't until the ER that they finally pulled off my wet pants. I lie on the bed wearing no pants, covered in a sheet, and struggling to remove my underwear with one hand. A young balding doctor with watery eyes approaches me. I'm waiting for the painkillers to take effect, he says, gazing at the dripping bag. It's okay now, I quietly groan. Just let him treat me already. I'm wheeled into the treatment room. Another young doctor, dark-skinned and energetic, welcomes us. He's carrying several cans of distilled water, which he intends to pour on my arm. 15 liters, he says, sounding pleased. He covers the floor with towels so that the cleaning ladies won't get mad. A young Russian with azure eyes is helping him. They ask Asaf to leave in case he'll faint, and then we'll have another patient, they say and smirk. During the final purification stage, the doctor pours hydrogen peroxide on my flesh, and the sudden fire consumes me. I scream. The dark-skinned physician loses his confidence. He and the Russian azure eyes wrap my arm in layers of wet pads, ending with hospital hand paper towels. My arm is a thick cylinder now. And now, for the other wounds, he says. Is there a female nurse who can do this? Asaf, who is now allowed to come in, swallows hard and tightens his lips. Everyone is very busy, but the young physician goes out and inquires, and in comes an elderly female nurse. Can you bandage her body wounds? He asks her. There are bottoms involved. At 12 a.m., I'm yanked from my late-arriving deep sleep. I feel like I'm being dissected. I try to remain within the darkness of the cocoon, but the lights are already being turned on above me, and a nurse is inserting the infusion containing the antibiotics into the hole of the branula fixed onto the back of my hand. I feel like I'm being ripped out everywhere. My skin is being torn off, my sleep is being torn off, my routine is being torn off. I sit on my bed in the dark and weep bitterly. I text Asaf. Are you awake? 20 minutes later, he responds, Yes, what's up? Call me if you need to. I'm going to shower. I reply, At midnight, the nurse woke me roughly. I've been crying ever since. I lie in bed like I, myself, am a cylinder. I'm not wearing my glasses, so the medical staff entering the room en masse until they feel it entirely are distorted. When one of them pulls out a pair of scissors and draws nearer, I whisper, They said not to touch the bandages until Sunday, please. Don't let them touch me. I hear a voice above my head, snickering and saying, I was the one who said that. The scissors crawl and hiss across the bandages, which are being split into. While standing over the crushed flesh and blood and ripped skin, the voice, now nasal, asks the interns, What do you say? What's worse, a dog bite or a cat bite? The voice is glazed, uncertain. It's a voice that makes no echo and requires no response. And indeed, no response is offered. The voice answers its own question. A cat. A cat is more dangerous. A dog bite is broad but shallow. A cat bite is small but deep, damaging muscles and nerves. The voice pokes the wound. I turn my head carefully and see hairy hands. Look, they say, there's a flap here. This a flap, a skin flap. The hands move, and several heads bring the noses closer and murmur. The fascia is intact, no sensory deficits. They already checked in the ER. I suggest that Khaled perform surgery on her to bring the edges closer together, says the hairy voice. Have you been fasting? I had a sip of juice. That's not good. Fast for 8 hours now and we'll get you into surgery. We'll try to save that piece of skin and sew it. Maybe it'll live. A pair of arms from the pack of shadows reaches out and covers the naked arm with a towel. The towel is damp. Like a small window left open that lets in a gust of wind, I can feel the chill blow into my ripped body. Now my arm is bandaged and sealed. I don't want to see it. I alienate myself from it, like parents abandoning their deformed child in the hospital. Let someone else take responsibility for it. I close my eyes and see a pulp of flesh and blood, raw flesh with no skin, pink and purple, like you see at the butcher's. The surgery is performed late at night, after I'd been fasting for 30 hours, during which my mouth had dried, my throat was parched, and my lips cracked, starting to peel. Now my left arm is resting against my belly, like an immobile baby. I touch the dead-like fingers with my right hand and stroke them, the living side comforting the dead one. I embrace the arm, appeal to it. You'll make it. You can. You'll live. Embodiment as a methodology places the researcher's body at center stage as the research tool, directing it to sense the field and interactions happening in it from a sensual perspective. Embodied methodology makes use of sensorium, processing all the perceptual and sensory information received by the body self. As autoethnographers, the main challenge is how to convey the intense body experience to readers. Rosemary Anderson argues that she is able to delve deeper into research and get a better sense of it over dinner than by reading an academic paper. As texts, studies are often tedious and dull, failing to reflect the lived experience. Embodied writing, however, is writing from the inside out, allowing author's body to speak for themselves, journeying into my body and expressing in words what my body is sensing, said Anderson. The body is a shaman, the medium where the experience is summoned for rebirth. The body gently awakens the senses, gathering one sensation after another, mulling over memories, kneading them all, and shaping the exact words. Embodied writing is, in itself, therefore, an act of embodiment. It requires writers to slow down, reflect, remember the concrete experience while paying attention to minute details and feelings, and describe it all. At the same time, embodied writing is not only attentive inwards to internal sensations, but to the sensual matrix of the world, or what goes on in the environment outside the subject. If one of qualitative research characteristics is the thick description, then embodied writing practices offer even thicker descriptions. Embodied writing enables capturing experience in their entirety, with no analysis, reduction, or reflection. Embodied writing includes the use of image conjuring and sensory language, conveying sounds, smells, tastes, colors, and textures. The text becomes a physical revelation. This embodied writing is the betwixt and between, the place where tangible physical experience breaks the surface of the water and the boundaries of words, the standard conformist language of reporting collapse. When the author includes sensory details in her narrative, what she smells, hears, and sees, as well as what her surroundings feel like, she drops readers in the lap of the location of which she writes, providing words and images that curate lived moments, thereby enabling readers to imagine what other people feel in their own bodies. As Joanne Yu says, to imagine the hardship of another person is like feeling the pain in your own body. Anderson maintained that the physical principle of resonating voice waves is manifest in embodied writing. Just as objects vibrate in accordance with the frequency of another object that is close to it, so the experience present in the writer while writing and the words resurrected in her will invoke sympathetic resonance in readers. Readers will fully experience a phenomenon physically and tangibly as if it were their own. Thus, embodied writing enables a powerful encounter between bodies and the creation of a shared humanity. The personal physical delivery makes an impact, as Sandra Faulkner and Sheila Squilante wrote, like a hand held out in acknowledgement and support. This is my story. Perhaps it will speak to you too.